All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Matt Isaac, professor of marketing at Seattle University, and this is our first effort at kind of uh, introducing the Emerging Fellows Program and taking questions about it. So I'll start by providing a little bit of overview about the program itself, and then we can open it up if there are questions at the end. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. Let's get started. So I've already introduced myself, but I'll also mention Maggie Mason, who is on the call, who's the executive director of ASHRI. And if you end up applying for the Emerging Fellows Program, you'll probably be communicating with her. Craig Berger is the president of ASHRI this year. I don't think he was able to join, but he's another resource for you if you end up applying for the fellowship. All right, so just to start, a little bit about what ASHRI is. ASHRI is the Academic Advisory Council for Signage Research and Education. And the focus of the nonprofit is to really bring together thought leaders in signage and wayfinding that will connect with practitioners that are in the space, ideally to advance knowledge around signage. You can see in the overview, it talks about on-premise signage, which is sometimes distinguished from off-premise signage or billboards. And so that was kind of the original focus. I think we do support research in signage more broadly, but that is one area from our initial mission. So ASHRI was founded, I guess now about 11 years ago, through a generous gift from Jim and Sharon Weinel. And they have, they were involved with, and started a signage company, and they have been very generous in terms of providing gifts, including a professorship at the University of Cincinnati and connecting with other areas like the Signage Foundation. So I think their focus, their donation kind of really helped ASHRI get started. And we've tried to, I guess, take that initial donation and use it to champion the kind of work they wanted, which was this independent research that could help inform signage organizations in some way. All right, and actually now we actually have a space in the American Sign Museum in Cincinnati, which is where Maggie is based. All right, so that's background on ASHRI, and I'll just share a little bit of detail about the Emerging Fellows Program. So this program, I would say, is one of the centerpieces of what ASHRI does. Since 2017, we have supported early career scholars who are doing work in signage, primarily on-premise, but it could be in other areas. And it's very much a multidisciplinary group. We have had a lot of interest from people who do research in marketing. Probably about half of our fellows have been in marketing, but we have had fellows in other areas, art, architecture, various uh, planning areas, etc. And so you can see some examples of some of the diverse research interests that we have supported over the years. Okay, and who should apply? I think really anyone who has research that might fall or impact signage organizations in some way that would be relevant to them. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But before I do, I wanted to turn it over to Connie Ho, who is a current fellow in a second year, where he can talk a little bit about the work he has done as a fellow and maybe his experience as a fellow. So, Connie, thanks for joining.
Thank you. My name is Connie. So, I'm currently an assistant professor of marketing at Florida Atlantic University. So, I'll start by talking about my first year project that I work with my mentor. So, in the fellow program, we have will be assigned to a senior mentors who are like really good to provide some mentorship. So my mentor is Ray Taylor's, who's at Villanova University. So this is the first year project that I work as a fellow. So one of my research line is about charity behaviors, like pro-social behaviors, how to donate, how to increase the volunteers. So I'm trying to combine the signage works into one of my research stream, which is donations. So in this specific project, we're working on how AI versus human crafted signage might impact on charity behaviors such as donations. So what we found is basically that comparing to AI generated content as a signage, if the individuals perceive this signage is crafted by a human being, they can feel more emotional resonance. So they can feel more from the signage, which in turns can increase their donation behavior. So they're more likely to donate. So this is the first year work. I was mentored by Ray Taylor's, and we have been published this work at the ASCSRE journals, which I think Matthew will talk about later. So I this is my second year at this organization, and I found this is really helpful. So I'm an early stage faculty members in the marketing field. So I'll need more help, not only like monetary per se, but also from more mentorship. So I received a lot of mentorship from Ray, which is pretty seniors, well established, and really knowledgeable marketing scholars. So can shape and help me to pursue well on my career. So it's really helpful. So this I have really great experiences for these 2 years at this organization, and I totally personally, I totally encourage everyone who are interested about signage or like wayfindings, and I'm really encouraging you to apply. And this you won't be regret. This is a great program. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Really appreciate that. And actually, perfect timing. I think Lindsay just joined, and I thought it would be useful for potential fellows to hear, certainly from someone doing work in marketing, since we have had so much in terms of fellow interest from those who are assistant professors as well as PhD students in marketing. But I also wanted to highlight some of the really great work outside of marketing that our fellows have done. So Lindsay, I think this work, I know it's been submitted to the journal, and I guess it's in progress
Hmm.
right now, but would love to have you share a little bit about your work and then also how your experience was as a fellow.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me. It's great timing, and I'm really pleased to give an update that I submitted my second submission yesterday. So the process has been really productive. Maybe to zoom back out for a second. My name's Lindsay. I'm an architect and a faculty member at the University of Maryland, where part of my work is related to our school's gallery and the signage and wayfinding sort of wing and arm of that in the gallery led me to um, propose a research topic about signage and wayfinding in exhibition design and the connection between exhibition design and architecture that can be found right in the middle. I found is really signage and wayfinding, navigating physical space, navigating conceptual space, and also through the kind of design decisions made. And so being a fellow has been a really rich experience. I have enjoyed attending the fellow presentations along the this sort of cycle. And then I found the editorial review process really rich. The 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 review it's an anonymous review for the journal, but the review was so rich and gave such great feedback, including new sources and disciplinary ideas. They were from museum studies. So the journal really supported rounding out my interdisciplinary research and finding someone that could bring another perspective. And yeah, and so I just submitted my second revised draft. And I'm also happy to answer any questions about the topic or the process. But I think it's just been very supportive, very positive experience. And yeah, I only have, kind of positive things to say and encouragement for anyone interested um, uh, to apply.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's great. And I would point out too that I think ASHRAE is pretty supportive of different types of research methods. I think Connie does a lot of experiments in his work. And I think Lindsay, your work is going to look very different, I think, than that.
Mhm.
But I think ASHRAE, we try to be, uh, realizing that it's multidisciplinary. We try to understand and look at the research question and see if the method seems to make sense, even if it isn't necessarily our own method that we're most familiar with. So thanks for providing that. I will leave time for questions if anyone has any, but just wanted to share how to apply if anyone is interested. Uh, our deadline is May 14th, and we ask for professional vita as well as a short research plan detailing how detailing the research question and how you would use the resources that are provided by ASHRAE um, to create and disseminate research in this area that relates to signage and or wayfinding. And then we ask for just a short budget related to the research. So that's how to apply. I wanted to just offer a couple of suggestions for those who are interested in applying based on my experience the last few years as chair of this committee. So first, I think it is, since part of the goal is not just to create academic research, but to connect and be useful to practitioners. It could be very useful to think about how someone in the signage and wayfinding ecosystem might use the results or think about the question and why it would be important to them. So what I mean by that is, what is this ecosystem? It might include sign fabricators like these physical signs. It might involve sign designers who are thinking about the layout, fonts, whatever that might be. And this could involve digital signage as well as physical signage. So really thinking about someone who works in the space, how might they be impacted by this result, and why is this an important question for them to know the answer to? So you really want to think about and put yourself in their perspective, and that might require learning more about this ecosystem. I'm not a signage researcher per se, and so I had to learn a bit about what the different parts of this ecosystem really are. Really, in an ideal world, you want signage to be kind of central to the question. I think it's appropriate to talk about and look at research that might span other contexts as well, including, let's say, advertising more generally. But you really want to highlight why signage is kind of at the center of this research, including in the, for example, if you run multiple studies, why you would test this using a signage context in most, if not all, of the studies that you would be running. Then ideally, you want things to be fairly generalizable. You wouldn't want the findings to only be relevant to a sign maker in a very specific industry that looks at a very specific thing. So in an ideal world, it would be something that's generally useful to a certain category. For example, in Connie's case, the focus was on donation, but it wasn't necessarily just donation in a specific domain. It could be broadly applied. And so trying to think about generalizable conclusions is pretty important. As already mentioned, because of how the initial funding was set up, on-premise signage is supported quite a bit, and this is things that are at the actual location of a physical business or an organization, the signage right on-premise there. But I think we have been open to and have supported off-premise signage research projects that relate to things like billboards, etc. I would recommend we have some great webinars. Both Connie and Lindsay have given a webinar outlining in detail their research projects and the motivation, and we have that on a YouTube channel. So definitely look at some of the past fellows' work to see if there might be a good fit. And then, as has already been alluded to, we have a signage journal, which is open access, and you can see some of the articles that are published there so you can understand what kind of work might be relevant or important to the signage community. And you can also see work that was conducted by fellows, since a lot of the research articles are from fellows. I would like to highlight, though, that uh, you don't have to just focus on research that would go towards our journal. We certainly want, and you can see this in this expectations list, if you are chosen as a fellow, we would really like you to submit something to the ASHRAE Journal, Interdisciplinary Journal of Signage and Wayfinding. But you're more than free to submit to other journals and use work that was supported by ASHRAE funds when submitting to other journals as well. So you can see just the basic expectations that we have for ASHRAE Fellows, and we really do try to pair you with a mentor so you can get feedback, and we try to make it a little more of a community, so we have a nice network at the end of the day of alumni who have been fellows previously. All right, I think that's all I'll say. I will, again, just here, this is the journal. Again, you can see online and read more about it. And we have an editor, Pat from the University of South Dakota. And I think we have a pretty straightforward and hopefully helpful review process for work that's published here. That's all I have. So I think at this point, I will just leave it open to anyone who might have questions. I know we're recording this for others who couldn't be here, but if anyone does have a question at this point, you can ask it. I'd say we're a small enough group that you can unmute and just ask at this point, and we will go from there. So I'll leave a minute for anyone to ask a question if they have it.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes. Hi, Kristen.
Okay, hi. First of all, thank you so much. My name is Christine. I'm a PhD student at the University of South Florida. And I think I might have just some broader questions about how the mentorship would look like, and also in general, the connection within the fellows of the same cohort and how the community aspect is.
Great. Connie or Lindsay, would you like to answer
Yeah,
Kristen's
I can start. So I've been working with Ray for 2 years. So in the program, when you selected as a fellow, you will be assigned to senior mentors. So we have a first meeting, like everyone introduce yourself, including the mentors and other fellows. So you get to know other fellows who are selected like in the same years. So I personally, I'm not sure like how other peers of mentorship works, but I will sometimes connect with Ray, email through, and if we need, and then we Zoom together. So, and I also was, for example, for me, like I was contacted by the other fellow, Hyung-Sok, from other universities. So we've been there, like been through, like we work together for some other project. If you're interested, then it's a really good chances to get to know others in the similar fields or like who share similar interest about research. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
my mentor was Sunju, and we met a few times early in the research just to talk about the process. She's always very supportive and has been very responsive. ASHRAE assigns your mentor based on your topic, and I found even in the webinars and in the presentations, the kind of community of fellows is also a great peer mentorship resource.
Great. Thank you both. Hopefully that answers your question, Kristen.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I would have one more question, one last question. So if the project evolves during the fellowship year, how flexible is the program, or how strictly do I have to stick to my original research plan?
Yeah, I can take that. I think, I think we definitely understand that research evolves and, studies may not work as expected. And so you might have to rethink your hypotheses and all of that. And so I think we're very comfortable with that. I think the key is to kind of just let us know how things are progressing and to be in touch with your mentor or with me and Maggie as the year is going. So we feel, you know, since we're giving you some money to work on the research to know how that's being spent and how it's being used and that it's moving towards something that could potentially be publishable in
Mm.
our journal or could be of interest to our community. So I think that's kind of the main thing. But we've certainly seen people shift around, and sometimes we have emerging fellows that apply for a second year. You can apply for in a second year, and they might have a shift in their project or as opposed to a completely different project that they are looking for additional funds for. So that's definitely an opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm Deepika. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Nevada, Reno. And my question was for Coney and Lindsay, but Matt, feel free to chime in as well. But what advice do you have for folks preparing their submission for successful applications?
Yeah, interesting question. Because we are not the one to select fellows. I'm not sure if my advice works for the successful application, but I would suggest like for example can you still hear me? Yes. Okay. So from Matthew's point, where you need to mention about not only the academic part of the research, but also how it can contribute to non-academics, right? That's what Matthew's point about, like when you're writing the contribution part. I think that's important. So I believe when they're reviewing it, it's not only the potential of this research, but also how it can contribute to people outside of academic to understand the importance of signage. I think that works. Yes.
I think just having it be something that you have some experience in, and a passion for. I think the applications, I mean, like Tony said, maybe we're not the best people to give this advice, but I think I submitted a topic that I brought expertise to some part, but there was a bit of speculation and research and kind of new information. And so balancing the research into new areas with my previous background, I think was, helpful to me for my own learning and kind of research output, but also supported a strong application.
Yeah, I think Deepika, I know you're in marketing, and so I think you'll get people that have some knowledge and experience in marketing, but in especially outside of the area, you want to assume that someone who's reviewing it or who might be on the committee may not. Like, so not everyone on the committee would be from marketing, and so you want to make sure that it's very clear what the contribution is, how this could be useful and potentially important, and how it's signage relevant. I think at kind of a broad level, that would be really valuable.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, with that, I'll definitely say I hope we get another great pool of applicants this year, and we'll be sure to post this online on our YouTube channel. But if in the meantime anyone has other questions, reach out to me. There's also a list of prior fellows on our website, so you can look at who's been a fellow and potentially reach out to them as well if you have specific questions. So thank you to everyone for taking the time to be here for this information session.